good morning, wherever you're at. Today, I will be going over um, my work in progress. It is a fully procedural humanoid. There is zero modeling in this whatsoever. Like, there is no. It is a Bezier curve. This entire model is geometry nodes applied to a curve. And there's just nothing else to it. Just geometry nodes. There's a node counter, and I think that's an add-on. I'm not sure, but I have 3,089 nodes so far. I'm not going to be going through all of them. I'm not even going to be going through many of them. I'm just going to kind of give you a brief overview of all the work that's taken to make this thing. And I started from the ground up. First, I started with the left leg. And it's essentially just a curve over another curve. Just a curved line wrapped around a curved circle. I then shaped that curved circle. Let's see if I can. I think it's Alt-Shift. Yeah. All right. I have it set to inches on some of the math here. Like this is set in inches, so I have a thing at the end that shrinks it down because 32 inches is a lot different than 32 meters. But this is what I start out with. And I use RGB curves to shape it in all three dimensions simultaneously. Over the index, I use the domain size point count as because this is always has to be between 0 and 1. So to get between 0 and 1, I have to divide the index by the total number of points in that object. And I use that to shape it out. The thing is, the front, back, left, and right all look different. So I have to do it in quarters. Alright, so yeah. Basically, if the index modulo 30, like it's 32 around, and if it's between 16 and 24, it's like quartet number 3. Yeah, that's the third quarter. Like 1/4 of the leg, 2/4 of the leg, 3, and then the whole thing, and then add in a knee. Each one of those had to been done one at a time. And then I scale it based on, what is this? Oh, this is like thickness? Okay, that's the leg thickness. And it only applies above like the 3-inch mark, which would be the foot. Leg thickness 2. See? For fatty legs, or beefy, or whatever you want to call them. And the really tricky part was getting, because it's all one piece. There is no two pieces to the foot and the leg. So getting everything to line up just right was tricky, to say the least. And then you've got the toes. The toes are basically circles around circles that have been shaped with RGB curves, same way as the foot. They are then attached somewhere. I think they're attached inside of here. Anyway, I use fill curve somewhere in here, right there, fill curve. All right, that fills in. Let's find. Yep. Like I pick out where the toes and the foot intersect, so that I can fill in all the space in where there's no toes. The other way to do it would be Boolean math, but I warn you, Boolean math is incredibly processor intensive. Like this fillet curve, like takes 0.3 milliseconds. A Boolean math might take 400 or 500. I learned the very hard way not to use Boolean math. I don't know why it is so obscenely processor intensive, but it's horrific. So I avoid Boolean math at pretty much any cost. If there's another way to do it, I do it the other way. And here I duplicate it. Got a left foot and a right foot. When you do a scaling by negative, you got to make sure you flip the faces. I got to Control Z a couple times to make sure I don't go too far. And sure enough, I went too far. Dang it. Alright. Which means I have to go here. Then I have to go and delete an output somewhere. I hate when it does that. I don't even know where the output was. Curve to mesh. Alright. Okay, so there's no output delete. If you do it with inside of one of these, it'll automatically generate an extra output. And yeah, it's irritating. Like you can't just view it. There's no viewer. And then I created the torso. Basically the same way as the leg, just more of the same. Torso connection. There is, oh man, the torso connection where the legs and the torso, basically the torso is just an open circle at the bottom. I mean there's just nothing. Let me see if I can get the torso. Yeah, see there's no top, there's no bottom. And what I do is I connect the points of the top of the leg to the points of the bottom of the torso. I then merge them. Okay, to do that, originally I was going point by point and moving them. And then they came out with the proximity node. And that changed everything for this. And to quickly go to, scaling so that the camera goes, I use the period on the numpad. And it's still, it's just a, well, it's highly subdivided now, but it's basically flat there, and I connect all the points using proximity. Geometry proximity of the other one Like I move the points of the leg, or excuse me, that's the torso. I move the points of the torso based on the proximity of the leg. I move the legs towards the new proximity, or the proximity of the new torso. And then I merge them somewhere. I got so many merge things somewhere, everywhere. And this is just because once you do that, there's an empty space right here where there's no leg and there's no torso. And this just is a fillet curve, not fillet, fill. Fill curve. So it just fills it in. It's just a flat, empty space. Delete geometry. I don't even know if that's necessary. I don't know what that does. I don't. Oh, that deletes where the arms and the torso meet. The torso is solid, and to keep it nice and clean, I have to delete part of the torso mesh and then reconnect the points with the arm. I've been working on this since since 3.0 came out. I think whenever Geometry Nodes first came out and was released in this recent form. I think it's 3.0. It's December 3rd. And again, use proximity node, connect them all together, shape them the same way. Let's see, what else? Oh, the head. The head was a nightmare to do because human heads are so bizarrely shaped. Like there's no shapes, and if you don't do it right, it looks super creepy. I mean, that doesn't look perfect, but some of my first ones were, ooh boy, creepy. And the hair is all geometry nodes as well. The hairline is just a mathematical formula. Well, this entire figure is basically a graphing calculator 3D representation of math. I mean, the entire thing is just a math formula. I have created the math formula for a human being. The reason those are black is because the procedural skin that I use has subsurface scattering, and this is not connected to anything. There's no like eyelids back there. So it thinks this is super thin, so it makes it really dark. Yeah, it's got eyelashes. The ears, I haven't finished the ears yet. They're not connected, so it's basically a head with no hole in it, with an ear just floating near it. The hair is, let's see if I can find the hair. I think it's actually in the head group. Yeah, right there's the hair. Basically, this is to figure out where I want the hair, which is just using positions like anything behind this mark, anything above this mark, but take out, exclude this part right here. There's the math formula if you want to see it. Takes the position and does a whole lot of funky stuff. There you go. And it's got a switch node here, so you get different values depending on this true and false. I think that's where this comes in. Let's see, -3. What did that change? I don't even know what that changed. And every so often you just come across one that is just hilarious. Um, okay. You know, if you really want that strange neckbeard thing going on with a goatee, right there it is. Um, yeah, there's been several times where I come across things that are just funny. And a random Boolean just floating out in the middle of nowhere. Let's go and get rid of that. Let's see. Get back out of the hair. Now let's go to the head. It's just... the head was a nightmare. It's just a whole bunch of crazy stuff. First it starts out... I tried all kinds of different shapes. I tried tubes. I tried cones. I tried spheres a couple of times and to get it to look right. Because it's not a perfect sphere. Because you have to, you know, shrink it in certain places and flatten it out in other places. See that one? Actually, that might look better without that. Yeah, you get some creepy stuff every once in a while. Transform translation. Oh, that moves the head up to... Yeah, it starts as... The head starts down on the ground level, and that moves it up to where the torso plus the neck is, or the leg. So it moves the head up. Then it deletes the bottom of the sphere where the neck should be, and then merges them together later on. The mouth, I mean, it's a sphere. So you have to figure out where to put the mouth. Then you have to actually put the mouth there. Then you have to make the lips. And it was a pain. I mean, this is just for the mouth. It was a pain. And I spent better part of a week just trying to make the mouth because I never could get the lips to look right. And the lips still don't look like perfect, but they at least look like lips. Now what else we got here? The chin. I mean, it's a chin. What can you say about chin? For the chin, I basically select some points that are in this area and move them forward and move them down. That's just all I do. Cheeks were another one that was really hard to get right. I've actually got two different places where I have, you know, stuff for the cheeks. Like this is like the upper cheeks. And then I have another one right here, which is like the whole face. Oops. And then I have the eyes are another thing. The mouth you can adjust up and down. I haven't fixed it completely yet, but you'll be able to adjust it up and down anywhere from, you know, way down here all the way up to here. The eyes, you can change the position of the eyes, how far apart they are. I haven't perfected that yet, It's still a little bit buggy, but once I get it all working, you'll be able to adjust the eyes further apart, closer together, up, down, left, right. One eye, two eyes, three eyes. I don't think I'll do more than three eyes. But it will all just magically work because of math. And I know the face isn't perfect, but you know, it's good enough. As I add morphs to it, the easier it will be to make it look humanoid. But right now I don't have enough morph things to make it look great. The eyes. The eyes have... Well, I'll go through some of the morphs here since I finish this. The eyelids. You know, for the blind people. Yeah, I mean, if you really want no eyes, you can have no eyes. There's another one here. Oh, yeah, there we go. In case you really want something creepy looking. Yeah. I don't even know, like, I came across that completely accidentally. But hey, if someone wants it, it's right there. A lot of times I'd find stuff by accident and I would just add it in just because someone somewhere might want it, and if it's right there, might as well just put a group input for it. And this thing is, I tried following a bunch of different tutorials, and they all turned out absolutely, like, gut-wrenchingly bad. And I mixed and matched like 2 or 3 different tutorials, and then completely changed it, and I ended up with this. Which, this looks decent enough. I mean, it looks kind of like skin. I mean, if you zoom out far enough, I mean, looks like skin. It doesn't quite look like a Barbie doll plastic stuff. Alright, so the next big thing to look at is all the different morph targets. I mean, I have a bunch of them so far. I don't think that one works yet. It worked at one point. Yeah. But I made a whole bunch of changes that... This one does work. See? So, you can, when you change the length of the leg, it will shrink it down to being... the foot size is separate. But it shrinks down the leg to be proportionate. However, if you want dwarfism, I got that covered too. So you got dwarfism here. Just with a single click. Like, it's not, it doesn't break the mesh. Everything's connected. It's all seamless. It all just works. Alright, let's leave the dwarfism off and see foot length. Now you got little tiny feet. Or I'm not sure how big I can make this without it looking really bad. Oh, well, that even works. Up to 10, 12. I mean, yeah. Eventually I'll have to make it where the feet like separate out if they're over a certain size, or just they don't get any wider after a certain size. I'll have to mess with it and figure out exactly how I want to handle that. I mean, if you want really super teeny tiny feet, and it all just works. I mean, you get the toes are all still there. Like, I can't zoom in far enough, but like even the toenails are painted. Leg thickness. In case you want, you know, what is that? That's strange. Oh, it's doing it on the front but not on the back. Okay, I know how to fix that. Leg thickness. Let's put that back to 1. Torso length. I haven't got that one working yet because if I scale on all the dimensions, the arms are still sticking out, like the shoulder. But I can fix that later on. It's actually the next thing on my list is so the torso can change different size. Because you have different, depending on the age and gender, your body proportions are quite different. So if you want to be able to switch between male and female or go from 0 to 80, you'd have to change the body proportions. So to do that correctly, I'll have to be able to move the arms inward as this shrinks or outward as it grows. And I'll have to reshape the torso based on the height. Right now, put it back up to 24 so that's regular. Like separates them out, push them together. They're not very well done. They're just kind of there for. I did a lot of rough blocking out just to get something done, knowing that it won't be completely done for a very, very long time. I wanted to make it's like when you're working with clay. First you make like rough figures, and then you make a little bit more detail, and then you make a little bit more detail. That's the process of this. Let's put the legs back up to 32. And let's put the feet back up to 8. Yeah. Yeah, there's a little thing there, but oh, it still shows up. That's something I'll have to fix later. That's for the crease right here in the hip, because a man's crease is going to be different from a female crease, and you know children don't really have one. Tape goes away. Hip crease angle, let's say 10. Actually, I think that's I think it like does it back up and reverses it. 2. Can't really see it on this. See the angle, how the angle changes, goes higher up or lower down. That one's pretty obvious. That one doesn't work because when they introduced the proximity node, I had to redo how the intersection between the hip and the legs work. So that does absolutely nothing. Arm length. Let's see, 12. You know, if you want the, let's see. See, got dwarfism covered. I'm not making fun of anybody. This is, if someone wants to make a 3D model of a human with dwarfism, got you covered. I repeat, I'm not making fun of anybody. Let's see, arm length. Oh, this is how wide it is. That determines where the arms are. That actually could be very useful when I shrink down the torso. I gotta remember that for later. I forgot that I put that in there. Shoulder height. Don't know if that even does anything. Oh, yep, definitely does. Does something. Pretty sure that's how big, how fat the arms are. And here we get to the interesting stuff that I'm really quite proud of. Iris dilation. Yeah. Pinpricks. Oh, someone's been taking too many eye drops. Let's see. That is the bump map for the iris that you can't really see unless you're really up close. Oh, and each individual eye can dilate differently. I mean, this is some of the stuff that you can only really get in procedural nodes. I mean, it's really hard to do any other way. You just won't really see it. Let's see, put that back. The hue, let's change that to... I'm not sure how big I have to... Oh yeah, it's between 0 and 1. So yeah, you get all kinds, you can... Each eye can be controlled differently, separately. 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. Like you can have the entire color of the rainbow there. So you can change both the hue and the pupil dilation separately per eye. I'm not sure, did I tie finger length in at all? I did. Yeah, stubby fingers. Yeah, that definitely broke something. Like I said, a lot of these I haven't fixed yet to take in various different situations. Chin prominence. So all the different aspects of the head or the chin. Head width. Yeah, I don't think that's tied into anything. Nope, that's not tied to anything. Eyeball size is, hair is an on and off. I don't have anything to control the hair color yet. Nose height is where it is on the face. Changing that pretty much breaks the face. So I don't mess with any of these right now. I haven't fixed them yet. It will take a lot of time to where you can move the nose, eyes, and mouth, where it wouldn't matter no matter what setting you have for the eyes, nose, and mouth, they'll all just work. That will take quite a bit of work. Face fullness. Look how fatty it looks. And it goes in reverse too. Like if you really want a sharp chin, you got a really sharp chin. I think that actually looks better that way. And yeah, at some point it breaks it. I think 5 looks better than 7. Cheek fullness. It's a little bit too much fullness there. That looks normal. Ear height, which is how high or low you want the ear up on the head. Neck length. Yeah, this is what I had set up before, and it just, that neck just looks really long. So, but that's what I have so far. I'll be adding in modifiers for everything under the sun, everything I can think of. Eventually, I'm going to add in the ability to grow horns, tusks, wings, tail, basically anything you can, and basically anything you can think of that's in mythology of humanoid creatures. The goal of this is to allow for one model to be able to replace all humanoid assets, 3D assets in both video games, animation, everything. Because if you have one, it saves immensely, and because it is procedural, the data storage requirements are tiny compared to, oh, it's so annoying, compared to, like if you have a high def model, like it has to store in the location of every single point in storage. Now if you have 1,000 of those, it's, it takes up a lot of space on your disk. However, for 1,000 copies of this with different settings, the only thing that you have to save for each one are these settings. So 50 numbers is a lot less than 1,000,000 numbers for each point, for each model, because you have to have the point data vector along with its neighbors, its edges. Yeah, it's a lot of data for each model. Also, you can change the morphs in real time. Like you can change from anything that this can be, you can change from it to another thing just by changing the sliders on the right. I know it's not perfect, but it's something. It looks humanoid at least. Like it's got the overall characteristics of a human. But it's I've been working on it since the first part of January, or excuse me, first part of December. So and I took about a month off. So 3 months I've been working on this. Um, yeah, it's a lot slower than working on a model by hand, but once it's done, you can have thousands and millions of different models, all unique. I mean, something that they don't do in video games is, let's say, an orc. They'll have like one orc model, and they'll just have different clothes on it, and that's it. They will have no unique faces at all. Whereas with this, you could set a script that randomly generates 10,000 orcs, each one of them with a unique face, unique body, but it still has the characteristics of an orc. Um, Same thing with your goblins. I mean, it's something that you just don't see in games, you don't see in movies, you just don't ever see. It's like they're all the same. Like if you look at anime, all the faces are the exact same face, and it just has different accessories on it, like a slightly different hair, slightly different eyes, different hair color. I mean, they all are identical. It's to save drawing time. But if you have everything unique instantly, there's no longer a need to do modeling anymore. I think that covers everything. That's going to be all for today.